A company just launched a giant new AI model and then, in its own ad, ranked it second. The model is called Qwen 3.8. It is from Alibaba, it is huge, and their launch post is not shy about the size. But read the actual words they chose. Here is the line straight from their own launch post. Second only to Fable 5. Fable 5 is Claude Anthropic's flagship. So the maker of this new model, in its own advertisement, told you there is still one model above it. That is the calmest, most honest thing said about Qwen 3.8 all week, and it came from the people selling it. So hold one question for the next few minutes because I will show you the exact test that answers it. If this model is cheaper and nearly frontier, is it an easy yes for your busy work? You would think so. By the end, you will see why cheaper can quietly cost you more, and the one test that tells you before you find out the hard way. Quick note on why I am the one walking you through this. I have spent about 20 years building AI systems back to the IBM Watson days. This channel is where I show that the folder of plain English files you own outlives every one of these launches. There is a free community behind it called Agent Skills Academy. I will leave the door open at the end. For now, let us actually decode this thing. Let us start with the model card in plain English because the headlines skip it. Qwen 3.8 is Alibaba's new flagship. They say 2.4 trillion parameters, which is their number for how big the brain is, and yes, that is enormous. It is live today, but only as a preview you reach through their cloud on a plan they call the token plan and inside their coding products. Then there is the phrase everyone repeats without ever checking what it means. Open weights coming soon. Open weights means they have promised to release the actual model files so people can run it on their own machines instead of only renting it. But two things are true and the thumbnails skip both. One, the weights are not out yet. Today you get a preview, not a download. 2. A 2.4 trillion parameter model does not run on your laptop ever. It lives in a server room. So even after the weights drop, this is a self-host if you have serious hardware story, not a run it at home tonight story. One honest gap I want to flag now, so I never pretend to know more than I do. Qwen did not publish an exact context window number for 3.8 in that launch post, and I am not going to invent one. Context window just means how much it can hold in its head at once. The Qwen family has been pushing that number way up over the last year, so the direction is clear. But the exact figure for this model is not confirmed, so it stays off the screen. So what is this model actually shaped for? You can read the answer in how they sell it, and this part is genuinely interesting. Their plan does not sell you chat messages. It sells you credits on a rolling clock, a 5-hour window, and a 7-day window, which is the exact shape of a coding subscription, not a chatbot. And every plan comes with a bundle toolkit built in. It ships with a code interpreter so it can actually run code instead of just talking about it, web search so it can look things up, and web scraping so it can pull straight from live pages. Put those two facts together and the picture is obvious. You are not buying answers, you are buying runtime for an agent. An agent is just an AI that takes a goal and does the multi-step work itself, using tools instead of waiting for your next message. When a company prices by the hour and hands you the tools in the box, they are telling you what they expect you to do with it. High volume, multi-step, routine work, run at scale. That is the job this model was built and priced for. And that matters for you because the jobs piling up in your week are usually exactly that shape. The repetitive research pass, the batch of files that all need the same treatment, the boring stuff you would never miss. Now, the part that separates this from every hype video you will watch this week. Where does it fall short and what is genuinely unknown? I am going to be straight with you. Nobody has independently tested Qwen 3.8 on real long jobs yet. Not the reviewers, not the loud accounts, and not me. It launched, what? Hours ago. So anyone handing you a confident verdict today, this crushes Claude, this is the new king, is guessing and dressing the guess up as a review. That is the whole reason this is an explainer, not a review. I am not going to fake a screen of it working or read you a benchmark I cannot verify or invent a weakness just to sound balanced. I would rather tell you what I actually know. Here is what we can say honestly because it is structural, not a vibe. The weights are not out, so today it is preview access only. The size means local running is off the table for almost everyone. And the thing that actually decides whether a cheaper model is worth it is whether it stays sharp across a long, messy job. That is the one thing no one has measured yet. Hold that word, sharp. It is about to become the whole decision. Because here is the trap the price tag sets for you. Everybody looks at a cheaper model and thinks cost effective. But cost effective is not one number, it is two multiplied together. Cost times quality. And right now, with Qwen 3.8, the cost half looks strong. Agent runtime at a fraction of frontier prices. The quality half, though, is a question mark because, like I said, nobody's tested it. And when the quality half is unknown, cheap can flip on you. Picture a long job, a research report that takes 40 steps. A cheap model that gets 30 steps in and quietly goes sideways did not save you anything. You paid for those 30 steps, you paid again to notice it went wrong, and you paid a third time to redo it on the good model. The pricey model that just finishes the first time was the cheap one all along. That is the line where cheaper flips to more expensive and you cannot see it on a pricing page. You can only see it in the work. So the real question was never is Qwen cheaper. It obviously is. The real question is on which of your jobs is the quality good enough that cheap actually stays cheap. And you do not answer that with a benchmark. You answer it the way you would size up a new hire. Here is the picture to keep, and it is how every COM operator handles a model they cannot benchmark yet. When you hire someone, you do not trust the resume. The resume is the vendor's benchmark. It is polished, it is their best day, and everyone says the same thing. What you actually do is hand the new person one real task on day one, a task you already know the right answer to, and you read their work. You are not being mean. You are calibrating. You learn exactly what they can be trusted with and what still needs your eyes. Do the same thing with Qwen 3.8 and it is 3 steps. Step 1. Pick one boring, real, repeating job from your week where you already know what a good result looks like. Not something fun, something you would love to hand off. Step 2. Run that exact job on the cheap model. Same instructions you would give a person. Step 3. Read the output like it is a new hire's first day. You are not looking for polish, just 3 plain things. Is it correct? How much would you have to fix and would you trust it without a human on every line? If it passes, congratulations, you just found a job you can route to the cheap engine and pocket the difference on. If it stumbles, you learned that for free on a job you already knew the answer to instead of at midnight on a real client deliverable. Either way, you win. You traded an argument in the comments for one real test on your own work. And the rule that comes out of it is simple. Your judgment calls, your complex multi-step chains, the jobs where a confident wrong answer is expensive, those all stay on the strongest model you trust. For a lot of us, that is Claude and Claude Code. The high-volume boring work that passed its first day that routes to the cheaper engine. That is not loyalty to a brand, and it is not chasing the launch. It is matching each job to the cheapest engine that clears your bar. One practical note, because how to actually use it is half the question. Today, you do not download Qwen 3.8, you reach the preview. It is on Qwen's own cloud, the token plan I keep mentioning, and inside their coding products, Coder and CoderWork. There is an API too. And here is the part that matters for the routing we just talked about. Qwen says the plan is compatible with the mainstream AI coding and agent tools people already use. So you do not have to move your whole setup to test it. You can point the harness you already trust at the cheaper engine for one job, run your new hire test, and leave everything else right where it is. And Qwen makes that swap almost too easy, which is exactly the point. They publish a Claude Code integration. You change one setting, point Claude Code at their endpoint with a Qwen key, and your same skill files run in your same harness with Qwen as the engine. Nothing in your folder changes, and that is the engine swap made literal. The honest bound, because this cuts both ways, is that a compatibility layer is roughest exactly where agentic work pushes hardest, and their own docs already show the edges. So the layer connecting is not the same as the answers being good, so you still test one real job before you trust a whole lane to it. Let us talk pricing, and I am going to do it without a single dollar figure because the structure tells you more than the number anyway. The personal plan comes in 3 sizes: Light, Standard, and Pro, and you spend credits against those 2 rolling windows I mentioned, the 5-hour and the 7-day. Teams pay by the seat monthly, and the tools are bundled in, not built on top. Notice what that structure is doing. It is built for someone running agents at volume, and it wants you to leave them running. That is the tell that matters, and I will be honest about the tells I could not confirm. You will see people quote an exact discount versus pay as you go, and an exact number of agents each tier lets you run at once. I went to their own docs to check both, and I could not confirm either one on the official page. So I am not putting a number on your screen that I cannot stand behind. The shape is real. The 2 specific figures floating around, I am leaving out until they are on the record. That is the difference between telling you what I know and telling you what I hope. So step back with me for a second, because this is the part that outlasts the launch. Every model you have talked about this month, Qwen included, is a rental. You point at it, you use it, and next month there is a cheaper or better one and you point at that instead. The model is not your asset. The thing that is yours is the folder. A skill is just a plain English file that tells the AI how you want a specific job done in your words, your standards, your steps. Chain a few of those together and you have got a little system that runs a whole job. And here is the quiet superpower. That folder does not care which engine is behind it. When Qwen 3.8 drops, or the next one after it, you do not rebuild your work. You run your same folder against the new engine on one boring job, the new hire test, and if it passes, you have just made your whole operation cheaper for free. A launch stops being a panic and becomes a routine upgrade you run in an afternoon. That is what it means to own the system instead of renting the model. So, is Qwen 3.8 good? The honest answer today is I do not know yet, and neither does anyone claiming they do. What I do know is what it is. A giant new model from Alibaba, priced and built for agents, with open weights coming and a preview you can try right now. What I know is that its own maker put it second to Fable 5, which is the calmest signal in the whole launch. And what I do not know, what nobody knows yet, is whether it stays sharp on the long, messy jobs, which is the only thing that decides if cheap stays cheap. So here is my promise. The day those weights actually drop, I will run it on the exact same folder I use for everything on this channel. One real job at a time, and bring you the full tested scorecard. Not a guest dressed as a review. The real thing with receipts. Until then, if you want to figure out this routing stuff alongside people doing it in the open, that is what Agent Skills Academy is for, and it is free to join. Nearly 1,000 of us are inside pointing our own folders at whatever launched this week and comparing notes. It is free at https://www.school.com/agentskillsacademy/about. Comment higher and I will send you the plain English model card plus the one boring job test, so the next launch is something you calmly test instead of something that tests you.